This is our last look at things before Alliance Insight smashes the meta. Now make sure you guys smash the crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more Oz content. Now as you're watching this, the new meta has already begun. Alliance Insight has begun smashing down the OCG meta, but this is a look at how the end of this meta is going to be shaking up and how things could have looked for us. So they're no longer as an S tier. Malice moved back down into A tier, which is interesting to say the least. We've also got the Blue Eyes Drill Beam Special. Yeah, that deck going to be very interesting to see how it's going to impact our side of the meta. We've got some White Forest shenanigans. I'm also very curious to see how that's going to impact us. Orcust found its way all the way up into the A tier still, which is crazy. And Memento actually rose up a tier as well. Now, we also have some Chron action for you. That deck has already started to make some interesting waves for us in week 0 of Suda, so I'm kind of curious to see, how that deck will evolve going into the OCG's next format. Tempai still exploding on the scene, and of course, Gem Knight still doing what it does. Now, C tier, we still have some Chimera action, and Dragon Maids still kind of holding on out here. Now, keep in mind, we're not going to have Dragon Maids, and we're not going to have Orcust, which are two decks that we could very easily have shifting our meta. And then D tier, they have some Melodious action. Of course, the Snake Eyes deck has fallen so hard. We also have some Magistus action and the Fiendsmith Drill Beam deck. Let's pass on over to deck list. This is how Malice looks in the format for Suda. And of course, I see that we are doing double EMP Meow Mine here at the end of this. Now, I mean, this deck is about to undergo one of the craziest evolutions you ever could actually have. I see that we're doing some transcode talker plays, which is interesting, but no access code talker lines down here. Interesting. Also, the Typhoon slot. Okay. I also see that we do have some deck lockdowns, but I mean, this is truly the creature of the meta. Next up here, we have Blue Eyes, now main decking Bystials. Wow, this deck actually playing 3 of them. I didn't really expect that. We also see the skill drain moving in here. Crimson Dragon, unfortunately, has found its way out of the meta, which is a little bit rough. I also see, is that the Primite trap card down there in the side deck? Might look that way, actually. It's actually really cool to see how this deck has been following up on its evolutions. And, trust me, Blue Eye's about to be really strong. Ooh, Rizel, with EX limited to 1. But of course, we still have Twins of the Eclipse, so, we can do all this incredibly ignorant stuff out here. You love to really see it, which is kind of crazy. Of course, they're not doing the big jaw stuff in here, which, I mean, the shark stuff does tend to make a little bit more sense. They do have more of the 7 Tachyon lines of play, which, we don't have access to just yet. We're just running through on the bonfire scenario, so, that's pretty interesting. All right, next up here, your Iset and Friends White Forest with full Fiendsmith combo. Oh yeah, I can tell that we're doing pretty good here. Baron, DeFleur, and Friends doing their thing. Of course, it must be nice to still have the Scythe Lock. I still cannot believe that the OCG was like, yeah, guys, we're just going to play the Scythe Lock. There's possibly nothing wrong with this out here. You also get the chance to see some A-Bow Q action in this deck. We've learned our lesson about A-Bow Q. Card's going to be really good. Oh, Orcust. Wow, we're playing Terratop and Takum Tumborgan here. Okay. Just to do some Summon Sorceress plays. Now, the TCG still has no Summon Sorcerers out here, and I have no idea why we don't have Summon Sorcerers out here, but judging by the current metagame, we may as well not even worry about it at this point, because the way that things have been going, we don't even need it right now. So that's interesting to be seeing, say the least. All right, next up here we have Memento and Friends. This deck has really not changed all that much. The way that Memento's been going, like, the most exciting thing is, you see the Chronozo down here to make the Borreload, but, like, that's about it, actually. And, we can't do that. So, I don't care too much about that line. The major things here are, we have the Super Polys built into the main. I also see, Goblin Cage is back. See, I always knew Goblin Cage was going to be needed. Our Chron pile. Now, this is interesting to me because the OCG is actually playing Tidal in this deck. Now, I've seen a lot of title in the OCG builds, and I'm curious to know, will the TCG builds actually adapt towards this? I've not seen a single title build, but I've seen, adventure builds running around. So that's a completely different story of what we could actually have out here. Also, Legatia action in here. Okay. Ooh, we have our Tempai. This is what happens when you live triple singing Kaiman alone in a meta. I just do some stupid stuff. I'll see we have the Drago in here. We have double Phantasma in here as well. So it's interesting to see that this deck has actually kind of adapted towards playing a Phantasma, thing just to be able to find some draw power, because Malice is kind of so high up on the food chain out here. You want to make sure that you're going to be able to get those resources so you can actually play your Tempai strategy. Okay, we have Gem Knights for you. Block Dragon is completely dead in this deck. It has been stripped the fuck out. Nobody cares about it anymore. It's really funny that this deck just optimized itself so much stronger without that choice of card. And that really does say something about how versatile the Gem Knight deck has become. Obviously still using the Fiendsmith cards in here, but that's neither here nor there. Deck has evolved in a very positive direction. All right. Next up here, we have the Chimera Fiendsmith build. You're playing the one copy of the Asset in here so you can get the little free extender, which I do think is fine. The Sinful Spoils package is also going to be massively important in this deck. Unfortunately, Chimera on our side of the game is nowhere near this, which is kind of a shame that it just kind of rode off into the sunset. The idea behind it was really, really cool. I liked what they were trying to do, but it leaves a lot to be desired these days. Oh, our Dragon Maid deck. Now remember, this deck also has triple Seng and Kaiman in it, and evidently when you shove Seng and Kaiman into a deck, you're getting way more value out of things, and I really think that you should be out here. Which, it's kind of crazy, the TCG's not worried about Seng and Kaiman right now. Also, we got all of our Mortal Charmies sighted. You also see we have the Change of Hearts down here as well to power through. Okay, I see you. Next up here, we do have the power of Melodious. Now, I don't know who's rushing out here to build Melodious combo or to test out things, but it is kind of cool to, see some of the value that Purge is kind of getting in here. You also do see some Black Goat Laughs action. Black Goat definitely is one of those cuter little cards for sure that tends to, kind of get offset a little bit, of course, in the meta. But, okay, you gotta love tech choices. Allows this deck to actually function. Ooh. The OSS special. So the TCG just outright banned OSS, which means we'll never truly get to experience, the pile like this. You have the White Forest stuff in here now with the Azamina stuff to bridge the gap for the main name. But it's really just a shame. Also, Apollos is still 100% a pain in the butt with this build. You also do see, we have all of the craziness with the Scythe package. Yeah. This is truly the terror of the meta. And then, of course, we have some Magistus stuff. We've been following the developments with this because I think this deck is really cool, man. Borreload Savage has become such an important card to this deck, though, being able to rear up the extra little equip so you can do the thing. You also do see that we have the Centurion stuff in here now as well, which is... that's also kind of interesting to see. The Centurion stuff is actually eating into the developments for this. So I quite like that a lot. And then, of course, we have your Fiendsmith concoction here. I see that we are doing the Snake Eyes Doomed Dragon in here. That's pretty cool to actually see doing its thing. Of course, the whole point of this deck is you're rolling through the Primite stuff. You're putting that pressure on your opponent. You're finding those good power cards to keep things going. Rex Tremende is one of those super powerful cards that is meant to kind of keep this deck going on, the extra side of things here. Now, that all being said, we are heading into Alliance Insight here, and by the time this video is up, the madness has already begun. You've got new Cyber Dragon stuff. You have, Evil Twins. I know Eldritch probably won't make as much of a splash. The deck build decks, unfortunately, got support in this set, what also means that, we're pushing things a little bit further on that power scaling side of things, which is going to skew things a little bit harder. Some of the older decks that got power-ups probably are not going to get a chance to shine in this meta, but it's very apparent the way that Konami's trying to push the game right now and show that, you know, this deck build stuff is incredibly crazy for what it is. Now, the TCG's got to kind of catch up with this. You know, we've had some key differences in our meta, you know, that being, you know, some of the Orcust shenanigans, and, you know, Dragon Maid. It's kind of cool to see a set that we're not going to get for, you know, 6-7 months. You know, we don't even have a release date for this stuff. Can actually skew a meta, but it also does kind of prove, you know, while we do have overlap in certain departments, that there's a lot of key differences as well with this. So keep in mind as Alliance Insight unfolds out here, you're going to have a lot of cool decks. That's what we need to be seeing right now. But, so, how more things change, more things tend to stay the same. Alright, so, guys, leave a comment down below, tell me what you guys think, and I will see your beautiful faces back here in a day, guys. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.